Hi, welcome. I'm Michelle Edwards, and if you're here, it's because you are tired of feeling stuck. You are tired of being sick and tired. It might be the end of the month blues for you. I know that in my corporate days, it was always like, okay, we've got 1 month left into Q2, and in some cases, people may have just already gotten their promotions over the last month and their raises, and they're either feeling deflated or they're super excited about what the year is, going to hold for them. And so, one of the things with my, 15, 16 years in corporate America, one of the things that always stuck out to me was the difficulty in getting promoted and always, having that feeling of being overlooked. And I always hated that, especially when it came to my employees, because I always wanted them to feel lifted up and to feel empowered. And so that's what I want to do for you today. If you haven't done so, go ahead and download the guide that goes along with this so that you don't feel like you have to take so many notes. And that is at Michelle, MicheleEdwards.com/promotion. Just type in your email address, and I promise I won't spam you, but then you can get access to the free guide that goes with this. And so you won't have to feel like you have to take so many notes as we're going along. We will cover all of the key points here, but sometimes it's just easier to have it in front of you. So, how many of you are feeling sick and tired and overwhelmed and just want to finally get on with your life, get to doing what you're supposed to be doing? Lord knows I have been there before. You are not alone. I got the t-shirt. So no worries about that. You're in the right place if you're feeling that way. So in order to get unstuck, we've got to take inventory of where we are to date. And sometimes that can be the hardest part, is taking inventory as to where you are right now at this very moment in your career or in your business, and trying to figure out and get real with yourself about what it is you may or may not be doing. So I want you to answer these questions for me. When you go to work or do an activity for your business, do you really show up for that? I mean, really show up for it. Are you completely present in the moment as you're doing that activity? Or do you bring your distractions with you? Social media, that can be a major distraction for some people. Your cell phone, maybe you're constantly checking your email, or you're constantly seeing the notifications come up. Maybe it's drama in your personal life or even your professional life. Maybe you work with people that are constantly gossipy or talking about other people. Or are you the gossiper? So are you the one, the water cooler talk, the one that's trying to make themselves feel better by trying to get other people, on the misery train? Maybe you try to validate yourself or what's going on in your business by venting to other people. And, maybe you're talking about how Susie got so many customers and you didn't, and kind of validating where you are in that process. Or are you looking for ways to one-up your colleagues? I know this happens a lot, especially in corporate America, where you've got the culture could be a little bit different and a little bit more competitive. So I'm not talking about like the friendly competition, but like the actual trying to kind of throw other people under the bus, or maybe you're doing that. Are you working for the promotion as if you already have it? Are you already doing the responsibilities that are expected of you when you do that promotion? And are you doing the work that's required to fulfill that need? Is your heart really into it? Are you really fully vested? Is it something that really drives you, where you get up in the morning and you're excited about it? Are you passionate? Or do you dread working with certain individuals? Maybe you've got people on your team that you dread, or maybe it's a colleague or even an employee of yours that you dread, or maybe it's your boss that you're dreading. So I want you to be really real with yourself as you answer those questions, because that can really determine why you're not getting promoted or why you're not moving up in your business and excelling. So now that we've kind of gotten real about where you're at today, I want to give you some action steps for improving that situation. So to resolve distractions, you've got to be attentive in everything that you do. You need to be fully present, and you actually need to be there in your work. Regardless of whether or not you are crazy about it, it is where it is right now. And so you need to be attentive to that. If you're like me and you get ADD, especially in the afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock, put some safeguards in place. So some things that you could do are shut off your email notification and only schedule certain times of the day where you actually check your email. Another thing would be to turn off the notifications on your phone so that you're not seeing all of these likes or comments popping up on Facebook that cause you to be distracted from what you're doing. And in some cases, just remove the app completely. It's not like you have to completely disconnect from social media, but I've definitely been known a time or two to actually remove the app from my phone if I find myself getting too hung up in it. Another thing is you could just completely turn your phone off and put it in your purse, or shut it off onto silent and put it in your bag. Whatever that will get it completely, it's kind of like that out of sight, out of mind. The next thing you could do is if you have people at your work or in your business that are distracting you, you could politely change the conversation, maybe shut off your, or put some headphones in, or close the door to your office, or just politely tell them that you're in the middle of a really important project and you just need to focus and you need some time. Another thing you could do is just, if they're kind of gossipy and they're kind of pulling you into that drama, just change the subject. Find something else positive to talk about, or kind of turn it back on them a little bit. Just because they do it doesn't mean you have to do it. And maybe you've been that kind of counterpart that they've relied on for that kind of behavior up to this point. That's okay. Give yourself some grace, forgive yourself for doing that, and just commit to yourself right now that you are not going to do that anymore. And you might not be able to control them, but you can control yourself and can control what you're doing on a daily basis. The other thing is you've got to stop feeding that negativity monster, because negativity thrives when it's fed. And so if you stop feeding it, it will stop growing. You can't, like I said, you can't control others, but you can make good choices for yourself. So start feeding that, or filling that void with positivity, and not kind of feeding into the gossip, and maybe really checking on who you're spending your time with or who is in your circle. The next thing is to stop making excuses. So you are the one that got you to this point. No one else did. So you need to be accountable for your work and your quality of work, and you need to start living as if that promotion is yours, or that advancement is yours that you want. So how would the woman that holds that position, how would she act? What are the habits that she would do? Maybe you don't know. So ask your boss. Ask the people in your support team that can tell you what that woman would do, and they can guide you. I'm guessing that woman that has that position that you want isn't going to lay on the couch all night. She's not going to fill her head full of reality television. She might actually read a good book in place of that. Would she be organized? Would she eat healthy? Would she get some exercise and some time for her spiritual needs on a daily basis? So if you want that woman, you need to own it. You need to own that position. You need to own what those habits are, and you need to start doing it if you want it. You need to act as if it's yours today. The next thing is you need to decide if it's really a good fit for you. So if it hasn't been working out up to this point, maybe it's because of some of the things that I had already mentioned, or maybe it's just because you're not feeling it. And that's okay too. I've been there before, and I've actually been there recently, and I've just decided that there's I have to be passionate about what I do, and maybe you're not passionate about what you do. So it's time to discover what you're passionate about. Does your work speak to you? Is your heart fully in it? Is there trust in the relationships through your business or through your work, through your boss, through your colleagues? Do you dread going? Do you actually dread doing the activity? If that's the case, then you really need to do some internal evaluation about why it is you're doing what you're doing, because chances are you're not in the right spot. So once you've dealt with the distractions, stopped some of that toxic behavior, started acting as if that promotion is yours or that advancement is yours, and then decided that you're all in, that this feels good, this is where you belong, now is the hard part. Now it's time to get to work. So I want you to go to work as if it's yours. We kind of talked about that, but you need to believe that in your head. You need to own that position. So that means asking for more responsibility maybe at your job, asking your boss what you could possibly work on so that you could achieve those goals. Challenge your boss to think outside the box. I can't tell you how many times I would challenge my boss, and not in a bad way. Chances are, if they're watching this, they're probably laughing, but I would always kind of challenge the thinking, or would bring up other suggestions, or would really kind of understand the why, which goes from asking a lot of questions. In fact, I have a post-it note on my board that says, ask more questions, because you have to ask a lot of questions to understand where you're at and where you're going and how you're going to get there. So the other aspect of it that I think people tend to overlook because they think they shouldn't be judged is dressing the part. When I was 18 and I worked in my first corporate job, I had a boss, and she said, you need to dress for success. You need to dress for the part that you want to play. And it always stuck with me. And I always thought, well, why do I have to dress a certain way to get a certain job? Well, you might have a CEO or someone in your executive management that's more casual, and that's okay. There are going to be people that do that. But maybe in your situation, you might have to dress a little bit more professionally so that people take you a little bit more serious about where you're at. If you're showing up in ripped jeans and, dirty t-shirts every day, chances are they aren't going to take you serious. And that's not a judgment. They just want someone that is going to fulfill the need and fulfill the part. And so you need to play that. And some of that might mean getting ready for work every day. The other thing is you can't whine or complain, and especially not to your teammates or your colleagues, because as soon as you start to whine or complain, you've been labeled. So if you're a whiner and a complainer, you have to stop today. No more whining, no more complaining, no more making excuses, and you've got to be the cheerleader for the group. So if your boss does something that you completely disagree with, and so do your peers, you can't jump on that bandwagon. You have to stop and kind of put yourself into their shoes and give yourself some of their perspective as to why they're making the decisions that they're making, and not complain about it. You have to be supportive of that, because chances are, if you get that promotion, you might be the one making that judgment call or making that decision, and you're going to have your employees or your colleagues not agree with you. And so you want them to be behind you. You want them to support you. So you need to start doing that with the people that are within your realm to do that. You can't even complain to your bestie in the cube next door. So no more complaining, no more wishing and thinking that you can do it better. Be supportive of the people that are in your chain of command, because those are the people that are going to actually get you the promotion. So you want to be on their side. Which brings me to my next point, is you have to find a mentor. And it could be someone in your position, doesn't have to be. It could be someone from the outside that's like me, that gives some coaching advice, or maybe it's someone that's in your field that you look up to. So you need to find a mentor, and you need to ask them if they would be if you could be their mentee, because a lot of times people don't even think about that. So you need to go out of your way to ask them for that assistance. Furthermore, you need to ask or tell your boss what your desires are, because a lot of times they may not even be thinking of you for that part, because they might think that you're just content in the area that you're in. So make sure that you're reaching out to them, telling them what your desires are, and then moving forward from there. You also need to express your desires to your network, so they'll kind of hold you a little bit accountable. Maybe you're thinking, I don't even have a network, I don't even know what that is. Well, you need to find one. So join some groups, get on LinkedIn, see if there are some groups in your area. Get out, maybe join a Toastmasters or something like that, where you can kind of get out and network with some people that are in your field, and grow in that way. And then, lastly, you definitely want to make sure that your boss knows your goals. So because if they don't know, they can't help you or they can't support you. So make sure that you tell them what your goals are, and that it's clear to them where you want to be in the next, year to 5 years from now. The next thing is you need to get your mind right. So you need to invest in a program that's going to help you shift that thinking that you're having right now. You need to find something that's going to kind of get you thinking in that way, as if you're the as if. So that could be online trainings. There's tons of free webinars like this that you could just sign up for and get what you need in that regard. Find some books. There's tons of good self-development books out there that will help you kind of shift that thinking or get your mind flowing in the right direction. It all starts up here. Regardless of what you've been told before, all of it starts up here. So you have to believe that it's possible. You have to make that mind shift. And you need to start filling it with good training and good skills. And so part of that is also asking your boss of where you're lacking. And that's not, admitting that you're lacking in an area is not a bad thing. I've always said, and I've, one of my very favorite authors, Brene Brown, always says that being vulnerable is courageous. So, coming from someone who has had employees before, if one of my employees came to me and said, Michelle, I really want to get promoted, or I'm really looking at this position and I'm not sure if I'm qualified and I'm not sure what skills I need. I loved that. I loved when they came to me and told me what they were thinking and what they were wanting, because then I knew what I could help them with. And so chances are your own boss is probably feeling that way. And if you have a yucky boss that maybe isn't feeling that way, then it's probably time to find a new job, and you might not want to get promoted in that area. But reach out to those people, or reach out to your support team. Maybe you have your own business, or you have an at-home business, and you've got support team and uplines and people within your network. So ask them what skills that you could develop that would help you to get further along. Lots of companies like that have online trainings that you can do for free. So make sure you're filling your head with all of that good training and that good stuff that they're giving you. And then you also, once you ask for that help, you have to be coachable. You can't always, and I'm here to tell you that you don't know it all. Coming from a person who was not coachable, you have to become that way. And it is hard to change that. But you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And everyone that I got involved with, either from my boss's perspective, or maybe someone that was a part of my at-home business, they all knew, yep, she was the analytical one. She was the one that had to figure it out herself. And that's okay if you've been down that road before. But you need to stop now and find those people that will help you. If they're giving you constructive feedback, listen to them. Don't take offense to it. Don't get defensive and start making excuses. Actually listen to them and make some changes, because they know what they're talking about. So one of the things that I teach my kids now, more importantly than anything, is they need to be coachable. So when they're on a sports team, I want them to be coachable. When they are learning something new in school, I want them to be coachable. When we're trying to teach them something at home, whether it be cooking or picking up their room a certain way, or mowing the lawn, or whatever it is, they have to be coachable. Because if they already think they know it all, there's no sense in talking to them. So if you're in that position right now where you think you know it all, chances are your boss has already written you off. So be coachable, listen to them, ask for feedback, and implement it. And then once you have those things, you have to create an action plan for your goal. You have to figure out what those high payoff activities are for that promotion that you're trying to achieve. And then you need to track it. You need to put in some key performance indicators and check those on either a weekly basis or maybe a monthly basis. But you need to be tracking that information and really checking in with yourself on your performance, because you might think you're doing a great job, but you might not be. So you need to see what those high payoff activities are, and then you need to be tracking it. And your boss or even your support team can help you figure out what those high payoff activities are if you don't know what they are. And then the last thing is you have to believe in yourself, and you have to trust God that He put you in this position for a reason. He put you in front of this training for a reason. And so you need to listen and try to soak it all in and believe in yourself and know that it's possible. And I promise you, if you follow these steps, you won't go wrong. One thing that I think people tend to overlook, or they kind of think that it is being a brown noser or suck up, is really like connecting with your boss or your upline or your support team. And I think it's important that you do that, because it's all about relationships. It's all about them knowing who you are, knowing what you're capable of, and knowing what your drive is like. And so reach out to them, ask how you can help. That's not a bad thing. And, your colleagues might see it as a bad thing, but chances are it's because they've got their own stuff they've got to work out. So don't see that as a bad thing by connecting with the people that can make your goals happen, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to be making the decision. And I'm not saying that you have to suck up to them, or you have to brown nose or throw other people under the bus. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm suggesting is actually connecting with those people, getting to know them, letting them get to know you. If you've been guarded, chances are they have no idea what your goals are. So reach out to them, connect with them, share, ask for help. And I promise you, if you do all of those things, it will happen for you. And until then, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would love to help you. And if you are looking to set some goals for the next month, I'm doing some free 30-minute goal planning sessions. So please make sure that you message me and get that booked for you. And we'll get that action plan together, and I will be able to help you and make all of your dreams come true. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. And if you're looking for a coach, I've got one spot left in my 90-day private, program at my intro price. So I would love for it to be you. So if that's you, make sure that you get with me and let's see if it's a good fit. So until then, have a fabulous evening, and we will talk soon.